Welcome to the Jacksonville Momcast, a podcast dedicated to telling the real stories of local Jacksonville moms. Sponsored by Jacksonville Beach Moms, each month we'll cover topics to help you navigate mom life on the First Coast. Thanks for joining us as we tackle all things motherhood and more with a focus on the 904. So today we're doing things a little differently, and we have a couple different moms from Jacksonville talking to us about their favorite spots for Christmas lights in Jacksonville. So we're going to get started with Lindsay Wheaton. Lindsay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. So I'm a local mom. I work downtown at UF Health Jacksonville. I have 3 kids. My husband's a local musician, and we do a lot, of different events in the community. We're always staying busy. So I'm excited to share my favorite Christmas light locations.
So let's jump right in. As I mentioned, we're talking about, all the different places you can see Christmas lights in Jacksonville, and there are a ton of them. So what is your favorite spot?
So I would have to say, because of location solely, my favorite spot is like Black Hawk Bluff. I believe that's like the overarching name of it because it's multiple neighborhoods kind of strung together. But it's this neighborhood in Jacksonville, right down the road from my house, actually. And they just go like all out every year. And it feels like almost every house participates. And it's a huge thing. And if you're local, you know about it. And it's something that my kids really enjoy. We always get hot chocolate, get in the car in our pajamas, and always drive through. That's like our yearly tradition.
Absolutely. I love Black Hawk Bluff. And for those who don't know, one of the coolest things about it is they hang like lights and stars from the trees, I guess, or maybe, I don't know what, if they have wires up there, but it's a lot of, the lights like on the houses, but then they're like above you. And there's this one cul-de-sac you kind of turn around in, and it's just stunning, the view and the lights. And it is very magical.
It feels like a different experience than just your normal neighborhood lights. It's definitely done well.
Yeah, so well. They put a lot of effort into just making that neighborhood so spectacular. Since you've done Black Hawk Bluff before, do you have any, seasoned mom tips for beating the crowds and, enjoying the Black Hawk Bluff lights?
Absolutely. I think with anything in Jacksonville, with such a like populous city, you definitely want to plan to go early. If you can, go on like maybe a weekday. I feel like the weekends and like the week leading up to Christmas, or the week between Christmas and New Year's when everyone has off, are just absolutely insane. And if you can get in early or get in kind of at a non-normal time or right when it gets dark, you probably can have the best experience.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. The closer you get to Christmas, the more crowded it is.
Oh, for sure.
And typically those lights go on. Sometimes it's right after Thanksgiving, but a lot of times it's December 1st for, anybody who doesn't know. So our family also always tries to go on like a random Wednesday at like right after sunset.
Yeah, us too. I think we normally try to go probably like the second week of December. We've had good success because, like you said, that third and fourth week of December, where it's like true Christmas time, and family have come into town, or whatever, people are off and making a whole thing of it. That's usually when it gets more crowded.
Yep. And you'll know when it's getting crowded when you drive by because the cars are backed up like all the way to from the neighborhood all the way to the main road. All right. And so you are also a travel agent. And so, in addition to Black Hawk Bluff, I wanted to talk a little bit about, Disney and theme park travel around the holidays. So tell us a little bit about, anything special they have going on down in Orlando this time of year.
So I feel like Christmas time, just the holidays in general, the magic is so intense in places like Disney because they really have the budget to do it up right. So everything's lit up, everything's super magical. There's fake snow falling from the sky, there's characters wearing Disney Christmas time outfits or holiday outfits. All the food is catered to this season. So I feel like, when you think about the magic of Disney, is just like on massive steroids. during the holidays. It's definitely cannot be missed, and I highly recommend it. But do be kind of aware, just like with Black Hawk Bluff, that the crowds can be somewhat intense closer to very peak specific holiday dates.
And if you want to attend any special events, definitely get your tickets ahead of time. Don't think you're going to be able to show up and just get tickets for, any special holiday event in Orlando the day of or the day before at all. Most of those sell out months in advance.
Yeah, and they're very limited capacity too. Disney really treats special events around the holidays like a VIP experience. They really want it to be very special for the families that are going. So, because of that limited capacity, there's obviously limited tickets available. So, I definitely suggest jumping on it as soon as they release.
Excellent advice. So normally on a normal episode, I ask everybody what their favorite thing to do in Jacksonville is with the kids. And so since this is kind of a holiday episode, what is your favorite holiday event in Jacksonville that's not necessarily Christmas lights?
Yeah, so there's a couple that my family try to do every year. My husband always plays at the Christmas tree lighting at the town center. His band plays there. They've played the past couple years. So we usually get like a backstage VIP ticket to go in the Christmas tree little area in front of Maggiano's at the town center, get some free food and hot chocolate. And then Santa comes out after the band gets done playing, and then they light the Christmas tree. So it's a really cool little family event. Because my husband's a musician, he normally misses out on events because he's playing somewhere else at the same time. So it's one that we get to do as a family together. And it's special to us to do every year. We also are beach people, so Deck the Chairs is always fun. Tuba Christmas, my husband always participates in Tuba Christmas at the beach, which is like every tuba player comes together to play like Christmas songs, which is really magical. And then I love, because I'm a huge Broadway nerd, all of the musicals and like holiday plays and stuff that come. So actually with Jacksonville Beach Moms, I got the experience of going to Elf last year. And I took my oldest with me, which is so fun. It was a great production. So I love all of those that happen every year.
That's awesome. So before we go, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, of course. So you can find me on Instagram at Magic Mom Life. Lots of Disney stuff for you there. And then if you ever are looking to book travel, you can find me at lindsay@dapperdreamstravel.com. That's my email.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Up next, we have Callie Knorr, and Callie is another Jacksonville mom, and we're going to talk about her favorite spots for Christmas lights in Jacksonville. So Callie, thanks for being on, and go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So we moved here about 5 years ago from the DC area, moved down with my husband and our dog. Now we have a 2-year-old who keeps us extremely busy. And so we currently live in Jax Beach. So given that we have a 2-year-old, you can often find us at Sunshine Park, but we're especially grateful to live here now as we enter the fall and winter seasons, because the holidays look and feel a lot different than up north.
They sure do. I'm sure you enjoy that year-round playtime at the park.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right in. We're chatting today with a bunch of different moms from around North Florida about Christmas lights. So tell us, what's your favorite spot or your family's favorite spot for lights in North Florida?
Yeah, we love Deck the Chairs. And honestly, even before having kids, we loved it. But now that, we have a toddler, it's even more fun to experience. But there's so many reasons to love that event. Primarily, it's accessible. So it's at the beach. Parking is fairly easy. And because the event runs from November 22nd, like Thanksgiving, through New Year's, the crowds tend to even out across the week. So it doesn't feel so crowded as some of those holiday events can be. Plus, it's at Seawalk Pavilion, which is pretty spacious. And so as you're walking through, people move about. So it's not like you're stuck in one place at a given time. And it just feels really like manageable to walk through, especially as a family. It's also free. So you don't have to make any sort of reservations, and even parking nearby is free. So that, I think, is a huge plus, especially when you're carting, a larger family or even visiting families. That is always a plus because you could just pick up and go whenever you want.
I was just going to say that is our go-to for when people are visiting. We'll typically go a little bit earlier before sunset, have dinner somewhere down there. Yeah. So you're parked, you're having dinner, and then as soon as the sun sets, you walk over to deck the chairs. You get to see it before it gets too crowded, and then you're ready to head out. Yeah, that's like peak Jacksonville for visiting family during the holidays. Yes.
It really is. It's so unique to Jacksonville Beach or beach life. So it's kind of a humble brag when people come to visit. It's just, I love it. But you mentioned having restaurants nearby. There's also concessions that they have. So that's nice as you're just walking by. And I mean, it's not extremely cold, but you can grab a hot chocolate and get into the spirit. So agreed. There's so many restaurants, but if you want a little dessert or snack after, that's a huge plus of Deck the Chairs.
And have you guys ever done any of the shows? I know that they typically put out a schedule, and I know like a lot of the local schools have dance groups that perform and caroling and music. Have you guys ever done any of that stuff?
We have. And I think what's so great about all the different performances is it's not on one single day. There's several days. So I think it's about 3 this year. And the performances start at, I think it's like 3 p.m. So, the chairs aren't lit up then, but it gives you enough time to see a performance. If you go around, dusk, you can check out a couple performances, see the lights all lit up, and then kind of be done with it in kind of a short period of time. But they're really great performances to see. And it really just gets you into the spirit, hearing carolers and seeing all the different dance groups. But I would definitely check the schedule. There's a variety of performances, but they're fun to see. And it just gives a good way to kind of break up walking throughout the different exhibits. There's also a movie night. So that I think is extremely cool. So in addition to seeing those performances, maybe for the littles, the movie night is a little bit more intriguing. But so it's great that there's the core Deck the Chairs, but there's some little events kind of scattered about the time frame that it's open.
And I just actually, right before we hopped on to record this, I got the newsletter from Jack's Beach, and it's actually, I believe, the Polar Express is what they're going to show this year, which is always a favorite.
Amazing. Oh, perfect. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, I'm excited to do that.
So we'll put information about that in the show notes. So if people want to mark that on their calendar, it's totally free. Like you said, it's just like super fun. I love doing that with little kids because if it's, they're bored after halfway through, you can just pick up and go or walk around and see the chairs. And I also wanted to mention, you mentioned going during the day and the chairs aren't lit up. My kids are older and they love going during the day to see how the chairs have been built, because you can really see all the hard work that people have put in, and you can kind of see like how they've attached stuff and how the lights run. And so then when you go back at night, it's like magical and it's lit up. But if you have, someone in your family who's interested in that like kind of construction piece, it's really, really cool to go during the day and just walk. And there's nobody there during the day.
Right.
And so that's really fun. Like I hadn't actually thought about that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Seeing how creative and unique all the local businesses and organizations get, you sometimes miss that during the nighttime, but during the day you really can see like what makes each one unique and how representative of their brands they are. It's fun. Plus you can almost interact with the interactive exhibits a little bit more, since there is, it's not as crowded during the day, of course. So you can run around, you can sit on the chairs, you can engage in the bubbles or without having to worry about any of those crowds.
Absolutely. And I have noticed the last, I think 2 or 3 years, for people who don't know, I'm pretty sure we're going into our 11th year for Deck the Chairs. I think last year was the 10th year anniversary. And so the last, I would say 2 or 3 years, we've noticed there's a lot more interactive. There's like photo ops and I think last year one chair had the Grinch there taking pictures, like a real person in a Grinch outfit taking pictures and bubbles. And there's usually all sorts of really cool opportunities for pictures, which is really fun.
Definitely are.
So as, a mom who's done this event a couple of times, do you have any tips or tricks just to make the whole process a little bit easier for, people with littles?
Yes, definitely. You mentioned going during the week. I think that is likely your best bet. I know that's harder with visitors, but during the week, it really is not crowded. And I don't mean that as in it's not popular. It's just super manageable going during the week. So to me, I like to go around 5:30 or 6, just as the sun is going down after dinner time, but before bedtime. So you can kind of run around and burn off some energy in between them. And then you're home so quickly after you kind of run through. So you can hit bedtime at a reasonable hour still. So I definitely think going during the week is your best bet. However, you miss out on some of the performances. So if you want to see some performances, my recommendation is to pick some of the earlier times. Again, like a 5 p.m. Check out a couple performances, see the lights, and hit up a restaurant nearby. Show off all that there is in Jacksonville. And you can walk to some restaurants, you can drive, but I think that key time to go is 5:30, just after work during the week.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. That seems to be the sweet spot that we've found too. And if you have little ones, if you've never been out to the Sea Walk, it does sit right on the beach. So you can always go out to the beach and let kids run around for a half hour while the sun sets, and then come back over the walkway, and then you're right there in the middle of the chairs, which is so nice.
So true.
So are there any other light displays around Jacksonville that your family, always tries to go see?
Yeah, I mean, this is a little more untraditional than those that you might Google and see come up as the popular light displays. Those tend to get very crowded and very congested. So our favorite lights to see is just hopping in the golf cart or in your car and driving up and down First Street. First Street sees so much activity throughout, all seasons, that everybody really brings the spirit for, any time of year. So just driving up and down, checking out the lights. We like going into Atlantic Beach too. The bigger the house, the bigger the light displays. So it kind of feels like you get that big holiday light display headed down there. But just driving around and checking out different neighborhoods that aren't so popular, you tend to get your light fix. So especially with the younger one, they don't know the big lights from the smaller lights. So it's a nice way for us parents to check that off the box.
Absolutely. And there is a house up in Atlantic Beach that's known for their lights. I can't remember exactly what address they're on, but I'll find it and I'll put it in the show notes.
501 First Street or something. There's a line of skeletons right now.
Yeah, they're known for having a great light display. So yeah, that area definitely goes all out. And then going south on First Street, if you go down into Ponte Vedra, there's some great light displays there. And like you said, like bigger houses, bigger displays. So it's a nice, not a very long drive, but you can get a lot of bang for your buck with those.
Or no buck at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. All right. So let's talk about any other holiday events that you guys really always, try to hit every year. I know you're not a native to Jacksonville, but you've been here for a little while. So what else do you guys like to do around the holidays?
Yeah. And again, this isn't a very traditional answer, but I think when having family visit, this is the event. There's just something about being able to sit on the beach during this time of year. So grabbing a sweatshirt, blankets, and get some hot chocolate and bring your holiday music. You could even bring a couple of books to sit out there and just kind of enjoy the fact that you can sit on the beach during the holidays, and it just feels different. So again, it's more non-traditional. It doesn't require lights or anything, but you could even, pack a little picnic to do so. But I love doing that when families are visiting because it's not every day you get to sit on the beach in December. So I feel like that's a really great event when families are coming into town, but even just as a core family, it's a low-hanging fruit activity that's still pretty enjoyable.
And I love that answer because winter is my absolute favorite time of year to go to the beach. And I'm not a big ocean swimmer. I just don't, that's not my thing, but I will spend December, January, February. I am all about being at the beach. So I love that's a great family activity also for that time of year.
Yeah. And you tend to forget that that's an option because you live here every day. So it's just, yeah, I feel extremely, grateful to be able to do that and just not be too cold.
Yeah. Sometimes it's windy, but it's usually not too chilly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, before we finish up, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I mentioned, you can often find me chasing my toddler all around town. But you can follow me on Instagram at Callie_K_. You can follow me for any, toddler activities or just fun around the Jacksonville area.
All right. Thanks so much, Callie.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Melody Corsi. Melody is a photographer here in Jacksonville, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her favorite spot for Christmas lights in North Florida. So, Melody, go ahead and start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Like she said, Melody Corsi. I do run a photography business, mainly maternity, newborns, and families here in the Jacksonville and St. Augustine areas. I have two girls, both in high school, which is crazy because not much time left with them, which is kind of sad. And my husband grew up in Jax Beach. We've been back in the area since 2016. I don't know. I love it. It's been going great.
That's great. So let's jump right in. We're talking today with a bunch of different moms from around North Florida about Christmas lights. So for you and your family, I know being a photographer, it's kind of a crazy time of year for you, but what is your favorite spot to go to for Christmas lights?
So it is kind of a crazy year. We often don't even go until December when things slow down for me. But if we can go early, 100%, we go to St. Augustine, which I know is totally touristy, Night of Lights. It's huge. It's lots of people, but it's absolutely worth it. The first time we ever did it, once we moved back here, we did go on the trolley, which I have to say, if you're going to do the trolley, book an early, like one of the earliest trains, and still get there a little early. There is often a line. They do have like hot cocoa or cider and, trinkets you can buy for your kids. So be prepared for them to ask for things. And they're playing Christmas music and trying to make it all festive, but you are waiting in a line. But the trolley is kind of nice because you're not having to drive in the traffic. You're just looking at the lights and they're playing Christmas music. And oftentimes, you'll have times where the whole trolley's singing along and they give you these like 3D glasses, but they're not 3D. And they make the Christmas lights either turn into, I think, candy canes or Santas, which is
how fun.
Like my kids loved that. And then you get to keep them. So like if you go next year, you can drive yourself and just wear your own little glasses if you're not driving.
That's awesome. We've never done the trolley down there. We've walked. It's very walkable, St. Augustine.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you can park and walk. We have a Jeep, so we'll take the top off the Jeep. And if it's cold, my girls get blankets and hot cocoa and stuff, and we'll drive through. If you're going to drive through, just know traffic, slow. You're there to see it. You are not there to be through it quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you have that mentality, it makes it much more enjoyable. But that's like, we now play our own Christmas music. We drive through it slowly. Usually we get dinner like before or after and just make a night of it. But there's just so many and it's all so beautiful. And like Flagler is all decorated and the entire park and all the businesses right by the riverfront. I mean, it really, there is a reason it is so popular. It is worth it.
And it wins awards every year. So I think it's one of like the top 10 light displays in the nation or something. Like last year, there was a whole press release about it. Like it really is phenomenal if you haven't been. That's another great place. If you have people in town visiting, it's a wonderful place to take them. You can have dinner and walk around and see the lights. Like you said, do the trolley. One of the things we love about it, and I'm sure you also love about it, being this is your busy time of year, is that the lights are on until I believe February.
I think it's January now. I think it was February in 2020 and 2021. I think they were like, they put them up really early, and I think they put them up at like the beginning of November in 2020. I think it's the end of January now, but don't quote me on that. I haven't looked it up. But that's because last year we ended up going after Christmas because we just didn't have time before, which, I mean, it's still beautiful and it's still worth dinner. And obviously at that point, it's actually a lot less people because most everybody's trying to go before Christmas. But it starts before Thanksgiving. So, I mean, you can go the week of Thanksgiving. If you can make a weeknight work, that is amazing. But yeah, I mean, walking through it, driving through it, it is just all very pretty.
It is. It really is. And it's all, for people who don't know or have never seen pictures, it's all white lights. So it's just the whole city is covered and every business participates, and it's the town square, and they have like millions and millions of lights. If you look on the City of St. Augustine website, they have like all sorts of facts about it.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, it's
just they're starting now.
Yeah. We'll put a link in the show notes so that people can see what the dates are exactly for this year. Yeah. But yeah, it does stretch for a ridiculous amount of months. It's the first display up and the last display down in North Florida. So if you need to go kind of in that holiday shoulder season, it's definitely a great choice.
Yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned kind of, trying to hit a weeknight, going early. Any other tips and tricks for people who are, trying to get there to see the lights?
If you're wanting to walk, I would definitely say go early and get dinner before it gets dark. Or that's probably hard that time of year because time change, eating dinner at 4:30. But, if you're willing to get dinner before and then walk through it, that is amazing. And there'd probably be more parking. The best parking spot when it's busy is the garage. It's not cheap, but there's the most parking. To me, we just usually hit a weeknight and we usually get dinner before and we just either drive through it or walk through it. I really just think it's just about patience and just knowing you're not trying to speed through it. Whether you're walking or driving or taking the trolley, none of it is super fast. So it's not something you can be like, oh, let's do it real quick before we have to get to this party. Like, no. You need to make a night of it and just take it slow and you'll enjoy it so much more.
Yeah, I agree. Those are some really good tips because it definitely is not a quick journey. So let's kind of shift gears. You're a photographer. Before we, wrap it up about Christmas lights, what are some of your favorite spots around Jacksonville to get those great family pictures? People are probably starting to think about holiday cards, and if they haven't booked a photographer, it very well could be too late because I know you all book up very early. But what are some of your favorite spots around Jacksonville?
It's hard because it really depends on what people are looking for. Obviously the beach, and especially if this is your first Christmas in Florida, you probably want to send that beach Christmas card home to your family that might have snow when you're on the beach. And the beaches are beautiful. And there's the Black Rock Beach up in Big Talbot. There's, rocks down in Volano. There are just options beach wise. So like getting a photo with like a Christmas tree or that kind of setup, that's a little harder because most of that is either downtown St. Augustine or the beaches town center, and I think the mall, and that's like it, which is, hard to get that big Christmas tree behind you photo. If you're just wanting a pretty location, there are tons. It just depends on what you're looking for. So I know like at the beaches, Dutton Island Preserve, Hannah Park, and then as you go more inland, like there's some smaller parks. Walter Jones is pretty popular. Camp Milton and North Jacks actually is pretty popular and is beautiful in the evening. It's really pretty in the evening. Depending on how far south you're willing to go, Washington Oaks is very popular photo-wise. It is a drive, so you have to know that. But it is beautiful. Most likely, a lot of photographers right now I know are doing minis with the full setups with all the Christmassy things. And you can, I can think of 5 people off the top of my head that still have openings, or at least posting that they have openings at their minis. So some of them are studios, so they're indoors. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. I am fully booked until February, actually. But I know that there are photographers out there that still have spots in really good, cute setups and, all the things.
That's good. So people just might have to do some shopping around.
Yeah, you may have to just look around and see what people are posting about. Usually, just because I see it, if you do one of your mom's groups and you post looking for a photographer doing Christmas photos, you will get everybody that has space commenting with what they have and when and where.
That's a really good tip. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, I do see that in our parenting group that every now and then somebody will be looking for somebody, and then there'll be 100 comments, either from the photographer themselves or people who have used them or know they have openings. So good suggestions. So aside from lights and aside from going down to St. Augustine, do you guys have any other favorite events or holiday happenings around Jacksonville that your family loves? You have bigger kids like me, so I know sometimes it's, they're a little pickier.
So I mean, they have enjoyed the Deck the Chairs. They've liked that. But again, that's one thing, like we've gone to eat and my in-laws still live in Jax Beach. So like we'll go see them and then, go to Deck the Chairs and, it's quick and easy. We did do Gervin last year and they loved that, again with the Jeep, so we can just have it open. Just anything like that they're in for. Other than that, for our family, it's really just like Christmas movies that we watch at home. Like it's not even going and doing things. Because my kids, Santa has not been a thing for a while now.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's, it's a blessing, but also then a curse with that.
Absolutely.
When you get to that point. What is you guys' favorite Christmas movie?
Probably Elf. I think, like, as a family, definitely Elf. Like everybody likes it. Everybody wants to watch it. Everyone's happy.
That's one of our favorites also. All right. Well, tell everybody where they can find you.
So my website is my name, melodycorsiphotography.com. Facebook, it's also Melody Corsi Photography. Instagram is different because I lost my full name years ago. So it's just M Corsi Photography. But yeah, I am booked, but I know there are a lot of people that aren't. So it's pretty nice.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you later.
No problem. Thank you.
I want to thank all my guests for stopping by today to share their favorite spots around Jacksonville for Christmas lights. And before we go, I'll also share two of my favorites since they weren't mentioned and they're a little bit of the lesser known. The first is a spot our family absolutely loves. It's the Beauclair walkthrough display. It's put up at a private home and they actually competed in the Great Christmas Light Fight a few years ago. Now, they didn't win, but the family continues to decorate their yard every year. It's a super fun display if you have little kids because it's a short path you walk through, like basically their circular driveway. There's tons of inflatables, tons of great lights. Parking can get a little hairy because you do park along the main road. So when it gets closer to Christmas, it's obviously a lot more crowded. Much like a lot of the displays that were mentioned today, you want to try to visit earlier in the season. Our second favorite is a drive-through display, and that's the Arbor Glade neighborhood, and it's in Mandarin. This is a smaller subdivision, and I am telling you, every single house was totally decked out when we drove through. A lot of the houses do themes. So there was, a Star Wars house that had tons of Star Wars inflatables. There was a Minion house that had a bunch of little Minion inflatables. It was so much fun to drive through and see what each of the individual homes had done to decorate. It's definitely a less crowded option when you want to drive through with lights, especially if you have kids, you don't want to get stuck in the traffic. So it is another one that I feel like is kind of a hidden gem here in Jacksonville. We'll put links to all the information about all these great light displays that were mentioned and even a few extra that maybe weren't mentioned in the show notes. And you can always find those notes at jacksonvillemomcast.com. This is our final episode for season 4. So we'll be taking a break for a few months, but we'll be back in 2024 with season 5 and some new Jacksonville moms to talk about and to talk to. As always, if you like this episode, please share it with a friend, give us a review, and be sure to follow us on social media at Jacksonville Momcast for all our updates. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode of Jacksonville Momcast, be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow us at Jacksonville Momcast on all the social medias for show updates and more information about our guests. To learn more about what you heard today, visit our show notes at jacksonvillemomcast.com. Thanks for listening.